Hey everyone, I just wanted to share just something that kind of came up that happens all the time and is actually one of the reasons why we're building in public and why we wanted to get users in RYSE as soon as possible, and just kind of highlights the benefit of having an MVP that you quickly get into production and then invite users to actually use, and not saying like testers or anything like that, but actually real life users that are not just you yourself. Anyways, this morning, well, almost afternoon, it was 10 o'clock this morning, and I received a text message from a friend that happens to be using the app, and he said, the new design for selecting the muscle group when creating a new exercise is really difficult. I preferred the old design. Also, I can't select certain muscles. I have to select a whole group. And you'll see that I didn't actually get that I didn't respond until 11 because I was asleep. And the first thing I did was this guy, we actually worked together in corporate America software engineering roles, so he's used to giving feedback and things like that. So anyways, my response is just initially trying to narrow down exactly what he was talking about. So I sent him a screenshot of the app and just asked, like, are you talking about this? And so it was a new design. I think I rolled this out on like a Friday, like this past Friday, like it was just a couple days ago. And it was something that I was pretty proud of because I thought it was a big improvement from the old design, which I'll show you in a moment. But I think one of the first points to just kind of walk away with is that you have to take that ego hit at first, because at first when I read the message, we're so used to getting that like positive reinforcement or positive feedback, but to get, I don't like this, or I like the old design better, or this one is really difficult, it did admittedly like sting for like a brief moment, but then, I quickly was like, okay, hey, like, let's figure out like what he's actually, like what exactly is he saying, and that it's not personal, and this is exactly why you want users, is to give you this feedback, so don't take it personal. So yeah, I guess quick tip, don't take it personal. It might sting for a second, but just get past that and just be thankful that someone cares enough about you or the product or what you're working on to take the time to give feedback, because that's worth a lot. So, but it is normal for it to kind of like hurt your feelings a little bit at first. So after getting past that, got into some details. So let me show you the before. So this was the old design. So when you're in the middle of a workout, or whenever you are creating a workout routine, so like a template that you want to reuse, and you have an exercise that you want to add that is not listed in the app, then you can actually create a custom one. We realize that there's an infinite amount of exercises, so that's why we open the door for you to create your own. So if you create it, you'll get this little text field where you can give it a name. You can select the category, the apparatus, so like is it using machine or plate, and then you select the muscles. So this is a video or a screen recording that I took from an iPhone 10, I think. But as you can see, like, you have to scroll down in order to see all of those muscles. And those options there, that's like a horizontal filter pill scroll. So, in the small area that an iPhone is, where my phone is, you were having to try to scroll 3 directions, right? And actually, this isn't even a full screen. Like, this drawer experience wasn't the full screen, so you were having to do a lot of that. And from my own, experience using the app and maybe trying to quickly do that while I'm in the gym, that was a little bit cumbersome, and I was annoyed by it. So that was kind of one of the motives that I had whenever, last Friday, I was like, okay, I want to clean this up a little bit. And also, you'll see that, that list of muscles, the targeted muscles, is relatively long, and that's just a lot going on in that little space, again, with the, constant scrolling. And also, one thing to point out is that when you do select a muscle, I think it showed it here, hold on. So once I click front deltoids right there, check out the body on the right. So see how it highlighted in that red or blue? It highlighted that muscle. So let me show you the new one. So that was the old design. And let me show you what I had changed it to. So this is actually live in production right now. So, okay, so I'm gonna click create exercise, and now this is, you know, the same text field type thing. I put in a little checkbox just to say, hey, you've, you know, added the name or whatever. And that's because, so, oh, and also we give a little bit of feedback, so there's like some validation. So if you try to click save exercise, it says, hey, no, fill this out. Whereas before, actually another problem that we had was people would fill all of this out and then they would click done. But that didn't actually save that exercise. You had to click down here, create exercise. And that was a common thing that we were hearing from people. Oh, my exercise, I created it, but it didn't get created, or, you know, whatever. Come to find out, they clicked done. So that was just a bad experience there. So this was an improvement on it. And then also notice, instead of being in this little drawer thing, when you click create exercise, it actually opens to a full screen. So this takes up the entire screen. So I'll type in an exercise name, and then if you select category, it's a single click. So then when you select it, it immediately takes you back, and then you saw that little green check mark pop up. So hey, you're done, you did that. And then select the apparatus. I didn't change these lists, so they're the exact same lists that were these filter pills. So imagine scrolling, look, there's 3-4 filter pills that can fit on the screen at a time with that horizontal scroll. This list is relatively long. So this is supposed to be an iPhone 10. So imagine scrolling to the side trying to do that, while also you could potentially scroll up and down like on the old design. So you can see why that was an issue. So let's select one of these again. Comes back with the check mark for done. And then this is the part where it was causing some issues for him. So he said selecting the new muscle groups whenever you create a new exercise is really difficult. So if I click this, it's the same. So my first thought when he said that, I was like, when you select the muscle group. So actually I had a little confusion because I was wondering if he meant this category, because, you know, these are all, you could say these are categories, like your arms, that there's a lot of muscles in there, you know, that it could be. So I wasn't sure if he was talking about that. So that's why I asked him specifically, hey, are you talking about this screen? Whenever you're talking to users, screenshots are your friend. So yeah, and he said, nope, I'm not, that one's fine. And we narrowed it down. He was actually talking about this targeted muscle selection. And then he just said, I preferred the old design and that this was difficult and that he can't select certain muscles and he has to select a whole group. So what I did is I immediately opened the app and I was like, okay, this is the same. So before, whenever you selected targeted muscles, it was the same exact checkboxes. So I was a little bit confused this morning. I was like, well, why? Like, it's pretty much the same. And I even asked, I said, well, it's the same checkboxes. And then he gave some more details and he said, yeah, but gym noobs like myself don't know their muscle groups very well. So I have to keep going back and forth between the pages to make sure I selected the right one. And today I did 2 workouts that only work the inside and outside muscle of my legs, but I had to select the entire group of muscles instead. So this is where I was still trying, and then that's where I was trying to narrow it down still. And he said, no, that one's fine. So then in the screenshot, you'll see I highlighted this and asked him, hey, are you saying that you want to see this on the checkbox screen? And he said, yes. So that was the actual problem. I guess there's a couple points here. If I, would have just went with my kind of bruised ego initial thing and someone tells you that maybe the new design is difficult or they don't like it, I could have just been like, oh, well, screw you, I like it, or it's great for me, so like, whatever, which that wouldn't have been a good thing. And then two, I could have also, hey, take the feedback. And in his initial comment where he said selecting a muscle group is difficult, I preferred the old design, I could have taken that anyway. But the reality of it was that, hey, I want to be able to see whatever muscle I have selected immediately with that visual feedback on the body. And that's because maybe I'm not as familiar or something like that with, what muscles I'm actually selecting and their names and everything. So that was the big difference. I don't know, what if I would have taken the feedback and thought, oh yeah, the old design, if he thinks it's better, then maybe all users thinks it's better, and I'll just go ahead and roll back my changes. When in reality, that's actually not necessary. These changes up here are great, and actually improve the experience. It was just this little change, which is showing the body over here. So what I'm gonna do to improve this experience is I'm gonna show the body. I don't have to make it perfect. Maybe I'll just squeeze it in up here or something, or maybe a little toggle that shows like list selection or body selection. I don't know, something like that. And then the other thing that I'm gonna add is making these clickable. So they actually are clickable already. I just didn't make it select muscle yet. But I think that would help as well, because if you're somebody who's, quickly doing this, like my friend said that he's more of a visual type learner. He likes to have a visual representation of things instead of like just written words. He likes to be able to see it. So this is something that for him would be much easier to use and faster. And who knows, maybe it will help him get more familiar with the different muscles of the body and like teach him something. So that's what I'm going to do for some quick improvements. And yeah, the point of this is just highlighting, it's okay if your ego hurts a little bit when someone gives you feedback, but focus on being appreciative of it. And also don't just take things at face value. Try to dig in if you can, like if you have the time to, dig into what people are actually trying to say, because sometimes their point, they may not be able to articulate it in the best way for you to be able to understand what they mean. And if you just go with, their words at face value, you may completely miss the mark on like what they're actually trying to say. So dig in a little bit, especially in these early stages, it's crucial. And then also just highlighting the importance and the winning that is iterative design and building, because having, after I make these couple improvements, I probably wouldn't have gotten to that point if I would have spent a bunch of time trying to make it perfect, instead of just rolling this feature out as it was, which this is what it was before. So this is the first design. So it's 1, 2, this will be like the third iteration on it. That is much closer to, what users like and what's really effective and good. There's no way in hell I would have been able to do this if I just sat there pre-launch, planning it, trying to make it perfect. So you'll never be able to design it perfectly. You'll never be able to capture everything that people want. So just getting something in front of them as soon as possible and getting real life feedback is the best thing that you can do, to get to that optimal design. Oh, and then also try to, just realize that you are biased. So even though, like, I am a user of RYSE, like I am a legit user, but I do not represent all users. And I have to always remember that, especially as the app, designer and developer and all this kind of stuff. I am one of the personas that use the app. Like, I'm someone who is training as a bodybuilder. I have been in the gym for a long time. I'm very familiar with a lot of things. Like, I would say I'm an intermediate lifter, but I don't represent every single person that will come into the app. Not everyone has this knowledge or experience. So making sure that the app can also be utilized by someone like that is very important. And there's no way that I would have this, insight or knowledge unless I have a user like my friend that fits that persona. So just make sure that you're not, if you get users and things like that, you're not just in like a thought bubble of people who are just like you. Try to get some diversity in there, and yeah, you're gonna learn some things and get some feedback that you just would have missed otherwise. So yep, build something. It doesn't matter if it's crappy, just get it out there and get feedback, and you're one step closer to, I don't want to say perfection, but near perfect. So yeah, I'll build that tonight and hopefully get it out for him tomorrow. So thank you. Bye. Hey, thanks for sticking around and watching. If you would like to join us, we are still pre-launch, but we're in both app stores, iOS and Android. Check out that QR code or just search RYSE on both app stores, and would love to have you. See ya.